The shotgun blast shattered the stained glass window above the altar, sending shards of crimson and sapphire raining down like divine judgment. Patrick clutched Alex's hand tighter, the warmth of it the only anchor in the chaos. As blood, he couldn't yet tell, splattered across the hymnals scattered on the floor. "You think hellfire's hot?" his mother's voice rasped from the shadows, her Bible trembling in one fist, the other gripping a rosary like a noose. "I've been burning in it for you, boy, every goddamn day." In the suffocating heat of that Alabama summer, the First Baptist Church of Willow Creek had always felt like a fortress, its white clapboard walls a bulwark against the sins of the outside world. But for Patrick Harlan, it was a cage, gilded with sermons on eternal damnation and woven tight with the threads of his mother's unyielding faith. Evelyn Harlan, with her iron-gray bun and eyes like chipped flint, had raised him on milk and scripture, her voice a whip cracking through Sunday school lessons. "The Lord don't abide abominations. Patrick, they'll drag you straight to the pit." He nodded. 12 years old and already feeling the lie coil in his gut like kudzu vines strangling an oak. By 18, the vines had choked him silent. College in Birmingham had cracked the door ajar, a poetry reading in a smoky bar, where words like queer and alive hung in the air like incense. That's where he met Alex Rivera, a transfer from California with sun-kissed skin and a laugh that cut through Patrick's defenses like a switchblade through silk. Alex, with his easy grin and calloused hands from volunteering at the campus LGBTQ center, saw the hunger in Patrick's eyes before Patrick even named it. Their first kiss happened behind the quad's magnolias, tentative and tasting of sweet tea and fear, Patrick's heart hammering like a revival tambourine. But Willow Creek pulled him back. "Families forever, son," Evelyn said when he graduated, her smile thin as communion wafer. "And the church? That's eternity." She was the deacon's widow, her late husband a pillar of fire and brimstone rhetoric. And she'd inherited his mantle, organizing potlucks, leading prayer chains, whispering condemnations in the ear of Pastor Harlan, her own brother, Patrick's uncle. The town of 3,000 souls orbited that church like moths to a porch light, and Evelyn was the flame. Patrick tried to bury it. He worked the family farm at dawn, mending fences under the relentless sun, his body lean and corded from labor, sweat tracing paths down his back that he imagined Alex's fingers following. He'd drive to the edge of town, park his rusted Ford under the pines, and call Alex on a burner phone, their voices low and laced with longing. "I miss your stupid surfer hair," Patrick would murmur, voice cracking. "Miss how you make me feel." Scene. Alex's replies were lifelines. "You're not broken. You're a goddamn poem." But the calls grew shorter, the silences heavier, as guilt gnawed at Patrick like termites in the floorboards. Evelyn noticed everything. The way Patrick's gaze lingered on the new youth pastor, a lithe blonde named Caleb with a Bible verse tattooed on his wrist. The extra time he spent fixing the tractor in the barn, emerging flushed and distant. She saw the rainbow sticker peeled hastily from his truck's bumper, the faint scent of unfamiliar cologne on his collar. And God help her, she knew. 20 years ago, she'd buried a secret of her own, a college fling with a woman from the art department, soft hands and softer whispers that still haunted her dreams. She'd confessed it to her husband on their wedding night, and he'd beaten the queer out of her with his belt and his Bible, leaving bruises that faded but never fully healed. "Pray it away," he growled. She did. Until the prayers turned to ash. For Patrick, she'd build a different pyre. At the next women's Bible study, Evelyn slammed her fist on the lace doily table, her voice a venomous hiss. It's an epidemic, sisters, them homosexuals infiltrating our schools, our churches. My own nephew in Birmingham's gone soft on it, quoting verses out of context like some devil's advocate. Gasps rippled through the room, forks clattering against Jell-O salads. Mrs. Jenkins, the pastor's wife, nodded furiously. We must stand firm, Evelyn. Root it out before it spreads. Word flew faster than gossip at a funeral. By Sunday, Pastor Harlan thundered from the pulpit, the wages of sin is death. And I tell you, brothers and sisters, the sin of Sodom walks among us, even in our own pews. Bloodshot from moonshine hidden in the vestry swept the congregation, landing on Patrick like a curse. Patrick sat rigid, knuckles white on the hymnal, Evelyn's hand clamped on his knee like a vice. Smile. Boy, she whispered through gritted teeth. Or they'll smell the fear on you. That night, the phone rang in the kitchen, shrill as a banshee. Patrick snatched it, heart leaping. Alex's number. Hey, cowboy, Alex's voice purred, warm as Gulf Coast sand. Got a surprise. Driving down this weekend. Meet me at the old mill? Patrick's breath hitched. You crazy? Town's on a witch hunt. Then be my witch, Alex teased. But there was steel beneath the silk. I love you. But that's worth the risk. The word bloomed in Patrick's chest like a forbidden rose. Thorns and all. He hung up, glancing at Evelyn in her rocker by the fire, knitting a prayer shawl with needles that clicked like judgment. Mama, he started. Throat tight. What if God's not as mad as they say? Her needles stilled. In the firelight, her face cracked, lines etched deep as riverbeds after drought. He ain't mad at you, Patrick. He's mad at the world for making you hide. She reached out, her hand gnarled but gentle, cupping his cheek. It was the first softness she'd shown in years, and it broke something in him. Tears spilled hot and silent. I know, she said simply. About Alex. Been knowing. He recoiled, the room spinning. How? A mother's a detective in her own house. She pulled him close, her embrace smelling of lavender soap and regret. I pretended the hate so they'd look elsewhere. So they'd think me the righteous one. And you. You the dutiful son. But it ends now. Go to him. I'll hold the line. The mill by the Blackwater River was a skeleton of rusted beams and sagging roofs, where cotton once spun into gold before the boll weevils and the floods. Patrick arrived at dusk, the sky bruising purple, fireflies winking like conspirators. Alex waited on the loading dock, legs dangling, a six-pack of beer sweating in the heat. He was all golden hour, faded Levi's hugging his hips, a tank top clinging to the V of his chest, dark hair tousled by the breeze off the water. Missed you, he said, pulling Patrick into a kiss that tasted of hops and home. They made love under the stars, urgent and reverent, Patrick's hands mapping the planes of Alex's body like a blind man reading Braille. Stay with me, Alex whispered after, their limbs tangled in a blanket stolen from the truck. We could leave. Head west. California. Start over. Patrick traced the constellation of freckles on Alex's shoulder. Mama needs me. The farm. Forget the farm. You're not a mule. Pet. You're a man in love. Alex's eyes, deep brown and fierce, held Patrick's like a vow. And I love you enough to fight for it. Dawn crept in slow, painting the river gold. They dressed in silence, the weight of decision pressing down. As Patrick started the engine, headlights pierced the mist. A pickup truck? Unmistakable, Pastor Harlan's. Get down, Patrick hissed, shoving Alex to the floorboard. The pastor staggered out, shotgun in hand, reeking of whiskey and wrath. Knew you'd slink back here? Boy, Evelyn called, said you've been consorting with that Cali filth. His voice boomed, echoing off the water. Patrick stepped out, hands raised, heart a war drum. Please. It's not. Lies. The shotgun barked. Not at Patrick, but at the sky, a warning shot that splintered the mill's eaves. Alex cursed from the truck, but Patrick waved him silent. She's protecting me, Patrick blurted, the truth spilling like blood. Mama knows. She's always known. Harlan's laugh was a bark, ugly and wet. Protecting? That woman's half mad with grief. Thinks you're possessed. He leveled the barrel. Come home. We'll pray it out of you. Patrick's mind raced, Evelyn's face in the firelight, her hand on his cheek. She'd lied for him, built a fortress of fury to shield his fragility. No, he said, voice steady as the river. I'm gay. Uncle. And love. Shoot me if you must, but you'll have to face what you've wrought. The pastor's finger whitened on the trigger. In that suspended breath, tires crunched gravel, Evelyn's old station wagon, fishtailing to a stop. She burst out, Bible raised like a shield, her nightgown flapping like a flag of surrender. Lord, brother, he's my blood. Harlan whirled. Evie? What in? I said lower it. Her voice cracked the air, raw as a wound. She stepped between them, frail but unyielding. You think I don't know sin? I've carried it since before Patrick drew breath. But this is love. Pure as the Jordan. The shotgun trembled. Alex emerged then, hand on Patrick's shoulder, a united front. Harlan's eyes darted, fury warring with something deeper, older, the echo of his own buried shames, whispers of a brother lost to AIDS in the 80s, hushed up in family prayers. You're all damned, he muttered, but the barrel dipped. He retreated to his truck, engine roaring defeat into the dawn. Back home, the farmhouse kitchen smelled of chicory coffee and reckoning. Evelyn poured mugs with shaking hands, her bun unraveled like a halo gone wild. Told you I'd hold the line, she said, sliding Patrick's across the scarred oak table. Alex sat beside him, thigh pressed warm against Patrick's, a silent anchor. You could have died out there, Mama. Patrick's voice broke, tears carving tracks through the dust on his cheeks. She sat, folding her hands like she did for grace. Better me than you. I spent years hating the mirror for what I saw in it. Won't let you do the same. Her eyes met Alex's, praising, then softening. You treat him right, you hear? Or I'll curse you with every verse I know. Alex grinned. that surfer charm cracking the tension. "Ma'am, I'd sooner face the devil than disappoint him." Weeks blurred into a fragile peace. The church split, half rallying to Harlan's calls for excommunication. The other whispering doubts. Evelyn's testimony a pebble in the avalanche. She preached her own gospel at potlucks. Love's the only commandment that matters. Patrick and Alex rebuilt the mill into a community space. Art classes for queer kids. Poetry slams under the stars, drawing wanderers from Montgomery, even Atlanta. But betrayal simmered. The youth pastor, eyes hungry and hidden, had overheard the mill confrontation. Jealousy festered. He'd nursed a crush on Patrick since orientation, dismissed as brotherly. In the vestry shadows, he fed Harlan tapes, secret recordings of Patrick and Alex's laughter echoing from the farm. Stolen kisses in the barn. "Proof," Caleb whispered, his tattooed wrist flexing like a serpent. The storm broke on a humid August night. Revival week. Harlan stormed the town hall meeting Evelyn had called, Faith Without Fear, a dialogue, 200 souls packed into folding chairs, air thick with fried chicken and suspicion. "Liars," he bellowed, thrusting a cassette player aloft like Moses' tablets. The tape word, Patrick's voice. Husky with desire. "Good, Alex? Don't stop." Gasps. Then screams. A woman fainted, another hurled a Bible, striking Evelyn's shoulder. Patrick surged forward, Alex at his side, but Evelyn rose like a phoenix from the ashes. "Enough!" Her cry silenced the room, a banshee wail born of decades damned. "That's my son you hear, loving, fierce and true. And if that's sin, then damn me with him." She turned to Harlan, eyes blazing. "You buried brother Tommy without a word. Brother. Feared the queer in your own blood. But I won't bury mine." The pastor crumpled, the fight draining like pus from a boil. "Evie." Sobs racked him, the congregation fracturing, some fleeing, others weeping, a few reaching out tentative hands. In the aftermath, Willow Creek reshaped itself, slow as clay under rain. Harlan resigned, seeking solace in AA meetings disguised as prayer groups. Caleb confessed his envy, slinking away to seminary in Nashville, chasing absolution. Evelyn and Patrick mended fences, not just the literal ones on the farm, but the invisible ones, late-night talks on the porch, her sharing stories of her lost love, him reading her Whitman aloud. "I sing the body electric." Alex proposed on All Hallows' Eve, under a harvest moon at the mill, ring simple silver etched with magnolias. "Marry me, Pat. Let's make this our forever." Patrick said yes. Tears salt on Alex's lips as they kissed, Evelyn watching from the shadows, her smile a benediction. The wedding was small, backyard affair. Wildflowers and whiskey, rainbow flags fluttering beside the cross Evelyn hung crooked on the barn door. As vows exchanged, she stood witness, hand in Patrick's, whispering, "Proud of you, son." Every broken, beautiful piece. In the years that followed, Willow Creek became legend, the town that traded pitchforks for potlucks, sermons for stories. Patrick and Alex adopted a boy from the foster system, a wide-eyed kid with questions sharper than thorns. Evelyn doted, teaching him to pray with open palms, not clenched fists. But on quiet nights, when the river murmured secrets and fireflies danced, Patrick would hold Alex close, feeling the echo of that shotgun blast in his bones. Wasn't absence of wrath, it was dancing through the flames, hand in scarred hand, until the fire forged something unbreakable. And in Evelyn's eyes, faded but fierce, he saw the truth. Protection wasn't pretense. It was the bravest kind of love, raw and redemptive, American as apple pie and the blues. The harvest moon hung low over Willow Creek like a bruised peach, casting long shadows across the Harlan farm where the air still hummed with the day's labor. Patrick wiped sweat from his brow, the calluses on his palms rough against his skin, as he unloaded the last bale of hay from the truck. At 25 now, 2 years after the wedding, his body had filled out broader shoulders from hauling lumber for the mill's expansions. A quiet strength etched into the lines of his face that spoke of battles won and scars earned. Alex was inside with their son, little Jamie, adopted 6 months back, his laughter bubbling through the screen door like creek water over stones. Evelyn emerged from the kitchen, wiping flour-dusted hands on her apron. The one with the embroidered verse, "Love bears all things." Her hair, once iron gray, now threaded with silver like frost on kudzu, framed a face softened by time and telling truths. "Supper's near," she called. But her eyes held that old glint, the one that said she saw more than she let on. "You boys coming? Or you plannin' to commune with the ghosts again?" Patrick chuckled, low and warm, slinging an arm around her shoulders as they walked toward the house. "Ghosts are quiet tonight, Mama. Just us and the living." But even as he said it, a chill prickled his neck. The church's shadow lingered, a specter in every sermon, every sideways glance at the grocery. Harlan had slunk off to a trailer park on the county line, preaching to empty folding chairs, but his venom seeped into the soil like old pesticide. Inside, the table groaned under Evelyn's cooking, cornbread golden as sunrise, collards simmered with ham hock, fried okra crisp and addictive. Alex sat cross-legged on the floor with Jamie, the 4-year-old's dark curls mirroring his own, building a tower of blocks that teetered perilously. "Daddy Pat," Jamie squealed, toddling over to wrap sticky arms around Patrick's legs. Up, scooping him high. Patrick buried his nose in the boy's neck, inhaling the scent of baby shampoo and infinite possibility. "What mischief today?" "Squirt." Jamie babbled about tractors and superheroes, his words a tumble of joy that mended the cracks in Patrick's heart daily. Alex rose, brushing sawdust from his jeans, carpenter by trade now, turning the mill into a haven for displaced artists and queer families fleeing Bible Belt belts. His kiss hello was soft, lingering just enough to spark heat low in Patrick's belly. "Missed you out there," Alex murmured against his ear. "Field work suits you." "All rugged and brooding." "Flatterer," Patrick teased. But his pulse quickened. Even after years, Alex's touch ignited him, fingers tracing collarbones like mapping constellations, lips whispering promises in the dark. Evelyn cleared her throat, a smile tugging her lips. "Save the honeymoonin' for after grace." Timmy. Hands together. The prayer was hers now, woven with her own theology, gratitude for mud under nails, love that bent but didn't break, the God who wept with the outcast. As they ate, talk flowed easy, Jamie's daycare escapades, the new mural at the mill depicting intertwined hands in every hue. But beneath it, tension simmered, A pot left too long on the boil. It boiled over 2 days later, when the letter arrived. Plain envelope, postmarked from Nashville, slipped under the door like a serpent's tongue. Patrick found it at dawn, coffee mug in hand, the words scrawled in Caleb's precise hand. I've been watching. Your little utopia's built on sand. Harlan knows things. Mimi. Or the boy pace. The Polaroid tumbled out, Jamie at the park. Innocent swing mid-arc. But the angle wrong. Too close. From the bushes. Rage roared through Patrick. Hot and holy. He crumpled the photo, knuckles splitting on the counter's edge. Alex found him there, blood dripping into the sink. Pat? What the hell? Caleb, Patrick growled, thrusting the letter forward. Alex's face darkened, that California calm fracturing into steel. That son of a bitch. After everything, Evelyn, drawn by the commotion, read it silent, her lips paling to ash. He was always a snake in boys' clothing. That tattoo? Mark of the devil. Markin, his own envy. She crumpled it further, tossing it into the stove's embers. We don't play his game. But we end it. The confrontation brewed like a squall line over the Gulf. They drove to the county line that afternoon. Jamie safe with Mrs. Jenkins, the pastor's widow. Redeemed and remarried to a quiet librarian. Her Bible now annotated with footnotes on grace. The trailer park was a graveyard of rusted trailers and overgrown lots. Harlan's double-wide sagging under kudzu like a defeated giant. Caleb waited on the steps. Leaner now. His blonde hair slicked back seminary style. That wrist tattoo peeking from a starched cuff. Patrick, he drawled. Voice honey over gravel. Brought the cavalry. I see. Cut the shit, Alex snapped. Stepping forward. Fists balled. Stalking our kid? That's low. Even for you. Caleb's laugh was brittle. Eyes flicking to Patrick with naked hunger. Lo, you stole him from me. Harlan. First at church. This. He gestured vaguely at Alex. At the life they'd carved. I loved you first. Prayed for you. Patrick's stomach twisted. Memories of youth group hikes? Caleb's hand brushing his too long. Dismissed as accidents. It wasn't love. Caleb. It was possession. And it's over. From the trailer's gloom. Harlan emerged. Shotgun slung casual over his shoulder like an old friend. Evie ain't here to save you this time. Boy. His face was a map of ruin, jowls sagging. Eyes red-veined from bottles hidden in Bible covers. Town's talkin'. Your mill's a den of iniquity. Drawin' perverts like flies. Evelyn's absence was a blade. But she'd foreseen it. Slipping a note into Patrick's pocket that morning. Forgive them. But fight smart. I love you. As Harlan ranted, Patrick felt her words armor him. It's not a den, he said. Voice steady. It's home. For folks like us. Who you cast out. Caleb sneered, pulling a folder from his jacket, printouts. Blurry photos, Patrick and Alex at Pride events in Birmingham. Jamie waving a tiny flag. Evidence. For the courts. Unfit parents. Alex lunged, but Patrick caught him. The touch grounding them both. You think shame's a weapon? We've faced worse. His eyes locked on Caleb's. Pity edging the anger. What do you want? Really? Absolution? Go find it in a mirror. Harlan raised the gun. Not to shoot, but to punctuate a blast into the dirt? Pellets scattering like accusations. Get off my land, or I'll call the law. Child services? The whole damn kit. They retreated, gravel crunching under tires. The drive home thick with unspoken fury. Jamie greeted them with hugs, oblivious, his joy a bomb. But that night, as Patrick held Alex in the dark, bodies pressed close against the chill, doubt crept in. What if he follows through? Alex whispered, breath hot on Patrick's neck. Then we run, Patrick murmured, kissing the pulse at his throat. But not alone. Mama taught me that. Dawn brought Evelyn. Her station wagon loaded with boxes, photo albums, deeds to the farm, a pistol wrapped in oilcloth. Packed for war, she said, setting the gun on the table like a communion chalice. Caleb's comin' Sunday. Preachin' at the old chapel ruins, reclaimin' the flock. Harlan's pullin' strings with the county judge. Old poker buddy. Jamie's ears perked at the tension, but Evelyn scooped him up, tickling until giggles erupted. And Evie's got stories. Little man. 'Bout brave knights and dragons. She winked at Patrick. And queens who slim. The plan formed over coffee. Infiltrate the revival. Expose Caleb's blackmail. Turn the crowd. Risky as a tightrope over hellfire, but Evelyn's eyes burned with the zeal of her youth. I've pretended long enough. Time to preach my truth. Sunday sweltered. The chapel ruins a husk of stone and memory. Vines choking the steeple like accusations. 200 gathered, holdouts from the old guard. Curious newcomers. Faces etched with curiosity and contempt. Caleb ascended a makeshift pulpit, voice oily as revival oil. Brothers, sisters, the harlots call echoes here. Sodom's sons build nests among us. Stealing our children. Murmurs swelled. Patrick, Alex, and Evelyn slipped in back. Jamie with a sitter. As Caleb waved the folder, Patrick stood, heart thundering. Thief, his voice cut clear, amplified by the ruins' acoustics. That's rich. Coming from you. Gasps rippled. Caleb faltered, eyes widening. Patrick, sit down. No. He climbed the steps. Alex flanking him. Evelyn a step behind like a guardian seraph. You've stalked my family. Blackmailed us with photos of my son playing. That's not God's work, that's yours. Born of jealousy. The crowd stirred. Whispers turning to shouts. Harlan pushed forward. Gun visible under his coat. Lies. Devil's tongue. Evelyn stepped up then. Her voice a clarion. Brother. I've seen it, the letters. The pictures. And I've seen worse in you, the bottle you hide. The brother you buried in silence. She faced the crowd. Arms open. We've all got secrets. I loved a woman once. Feared it. Fought it. But for my son, I'd burn the world to ash. Silence fell heavy as judgment. A woman in the front row, Mrs. Jenkins, stood. Evie. You. Nods spread. Stories spilling. A cousin lost to conversion camps. A father who never came home from the city. Caleb crumpled. Folders slipping to the dust. I just wanted him to see me. Harlan's hand twitched toward the gun. But Alex was faster, wrenching it away. Voice low thunder. Enough blood. Go heal. Old man. Sheriff arrived. Neutral. A newcomer from Ohio, cuffing Caleb for stalking. Harlan for threats. The crowd dispersed not in riot, but reflection. Evelyn's words a seed in cracked soil. That night, the farm glowed with lanterns. An impromptu feast, neighbors bearing pies. Jamie danced barefoot, Evelyn twirling him under stars. Patrick pulled her aside. Throw tight. You saved us again. She cupped his face. Eyes wet. We saved each other. Son. Love's the real wrath. Unleashing it sets us free. As autumn deepened, the mill thrived. A beacon drawing more. A trans teen from Mobile. A lesbian couple fleeing Tennessee. Patrick and Alex mentored. Their love a quiet revolution. Nights tangled in sheets. Mornings with coffee and Jamie's chaos. Evelyn wrote her memoir. Ashes to Alleluia. Self-published in runs of 1,000. Pages turning in libraries from here to Hollywood. Betrayal's sting faded, replaced by roots deeper than kudzu. In Willow Creek, they learned wrath wasn't the church's monopoly, it was the heart's forge. Hammering fear into fortitude, hate into hallowed ground. Winter clamped down on Willow Creek like a jealous lover. Frost etching the windows of the Harlan farmhouse into lace patterns that caught the weak sun. Patrick shoveled the walk at first light, breath clouding in plumes, his mind wandering to the warmth of Alex's body beside him that morning, spooned close. Jamie's snores a soft counterpoint from the next room. At 27, fatherhood had layered him with a new tenderness, softening the edges of his farm boy ruggedness. But the old vigilance lingered, a habit born of too many close calls. Evelyn's book launch was the talk of the county, a reading at the mill. Transformed now into a multipurpose haven with exposed beams strung in Edison bulbs. Walls alive with murals of intertwined figures in defiant embrace. She'd poured her soul into Ashes to Alleluia. Chapters raw as peeled onions. Her college love affair. The belt marks from her husband. The calculated homophobia she'd wielded like a shield for Patrick. Not a confession, she told him, binding the manuscript with trembling hands. A reclamation. The night arrived crisp and clear. Stars pricking the velvet sky like promises. Cars lined the dirt road. Headlights sweeping like searchlights, folks from town. Strangers from Birmingham. Even a reporter from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution sniffing a redemption arc story. Inside, the air hummed with anticipation, scent of mulled cider mingling with pine from the wreath on the door. Timmy, dressed in a tiny bow tie, darted among legs, clutching a crayon-scribbled book of his own. Alex manned the door, charm dialed high, greeting arrivals with handshakes and hugs. Welcome to the revolution, he'd quip, his laugh a bridge over awkward pauses. Patrick watched from the stage. Heart-swelling Alex. His anchor. The man who'd turned "I love you" from a whisper to a war cry. Evelyn took the mic, her voice steady as she cracked the spine of her book. I pretended hate to cradle love. Burned bridges so my son could cross rivers. The room leaned in. Breaths held. She read of the shotgun night. Voice breaking on the line. In that moment, I saw God, not in the barrel, but in the boy's unbowed eyes. Applause thundered. Tears tracing paths down weathered cheeks. The signing line snaked long. Evelyn's arthritic fingers inking dedications. To the hidden hearts, bloom fierce. Patrick circulated, refilling cider, fielding questions with a poet's grace. It's not about forgiving the unforgivable, he told a wide-eyed teen clutching her girlfriend's hand. It's about outliving it. But midway through, the door banged open, cold air knifing in. Harlan stood there, gaunt as a specter, bottle-green eyes glassy but focused. No gun this time, just a worn Bible, pages dog-eared to Leviticus. "Evie," he rasped, voice cutting the chatter like barbed wire. The room froze. Evelyn looked up, pen poised, her face a mask of weary compassion. "Brother." "Cider." He shuffled forward, ignoring the stares, collapsing into a chair at her table. "Read your book." "All night." Whiskey helped. A bitter chuckle escaped. "You called me out." Tommy. Tommy. He wrote me letters from San Francisco. Begged forgiveness for being wrong. I burned him. Burned him in my heart. Gasps rippled. But Evelyn reached across. Hand over his. Fire don't erase. It illuminates. Patrick hovered. Alex at his elbow. Tension coiling like a spring. Harlan's gaze lifted to him. Raw and stripped. "Nephew." I aimed that gun at shadows. "Yours most of all." "Sorry don't fix it." "But it's startin'." The words hung, fragile as hoarfrost. Patrick swallowed, old wounds throbbing. "Actions, uncle." "Not words." Harlan nodded. "Slow." "Come into the mill." "Volunteer." "If you'll have me." Alex's grip tightened on Patrick's arm, warning. "Wonder." Evelyn's eyes met Patrick's. A silencer call. "The breath a release." "Show up tomorrow." "Hammer and nails." "We'll see." The night dissolved into murmurs, the reporters scribbling furiously. As guests filtered out, Harlan lingered, helping stack chairs with awkward hands. "Boy," he said to Patrick, voice low. "Jamie's got your eyes." "Fierce." "Jamie's got all our eyes," Patrick replied. The forgiveness tentative, a seed in frozen ground. Spring thawed the rifts slow. Harlan appeared at the mill, sleeves rolled, swinging a hammer beside Alex. Their silences companionable at first, then laced with talk, baseball scores, the price of lumber, the ache of loss. Paroled early for good behavior, vanished to parts unknown. His shadow a cautionary tale whispered at AA meetings Harlan now chaired. Evelyn's book sold out its first print. Reviews calling it a Southern Gothic gut punch with gospel hope. She toured small towns, her station wagon groaning under boxes, Patrick tagging along when farm duties allowed. One night in Tuscaloosa, post-reading, she confessed over motel coffee, "Wrote it for you, but mostly for me." To stop pretendin', he hugged her fierce, the coffee bitter on his tongue. "You never pretended with me, Mama." "Not really." Back home, love deepened its roots. Alex and Patrick celebrated anniversaries with midnight picnics by the river. Blankets spread under magnolias, wine loosening tongues to dreams, expanding the mill into a retreat center. Writing their own stories. Jamie grew. Questions blooming. Why do some people hate rainbows? Daddy, answered with honesty wrapped in hugs. But summer brought a new storm. Unbidden. A developer from Atlanta eyed Willow Creek for revitalization, condos and a strip mall. Swallowing the farm. The ruins. Progress, the slick brochure promised. But Patrick saw erasure, bulldozers chewing history, pricing out the families who'd fought to stay. Town hall erupted. Evelyn leading the charge, petitions, rallies. Her voice a whip-smart fusion of scripture and statute. This land's soaked in our sweat and stories. You don't pave over souls for profit. Harlan, redeemed in fits and starts, testified haltingly, lost too much to greed. Won't lose more. Patrick and Alex organized. Jamie's face painted with protest signs. His tiny fist raised in solidarity. The fight dragged months. Lawyers circling like vultures. But community coalesced, queer and straight. Churchgoers and skeptics, united in the grit of survival. Victory came narrow. A zoning vote 51-49. The developer slinking off with tail tucked. Celebrations spilled into the streets, bonfires, fiddles. Evelyn dancing with Harlan. Her laughter rare and radiant. Patrick pulled Alex aside. Under the chapel ruins now a garden of wildflowers. We did it. We always do, Alex murmured. Kissing him deep. Hands roaming familiar paths. This crazy family. Fall painted the leaves fire. And with it, a quieter milestone, Evelyn's diagnosis. Ovarian cancer. Stage 3. The doctor's words a sucker punch in sterile air. Aggressive, he said. Charts blurring through Patrick's tears. She took it stoic, packing hospital bags with her Bible and a flask of medicinal bourbon. God's got plans, she quipped. But her eyes held fear. The first crack in her armor. Treatments ravaged her, chemo stripping hair and strength, but not spirit. Patrick sat vigil, reading her chapters aloud. Alex cooking her favorite peach cobbler. Jamie drew pictures of strong grandma warriors, taping them to 4 stands. Harlan visited weekly, prayers evolving from fire to gentle rain. One evening, as sunset bled orange through the window, Evelyn gripped Patrick's hand. Don't grieve yet. But I've lived true, thanks to you. Her voice weakened, but eyes blazed. Promise me, keep lovin' loud. For all the pretenders out there. I promise, he choked. Alex's arm around his shoulders. Jamie curled in his lap. She slipped away at dawn. 2 weeks later, the room filled with family, blood and chosen. Harlan wept openly. Eulogy at the funeral a masterpiece of mercy. Evie Harlan pretended to hate so she could teach us love. Heaven's gain. Our loss. The mill hosted her wake. Stories flowing like the Blackwater. Her shotgun stand. Booked her tales. The way she'd wink at Jamie over pancakes. Patrick spoke last. Voice raw. Mama built walls of wrath to house our wonders. She was our wrath and our grace. Winter returned. Softer now. Snow blanketing the farm like absolution. Patrick, Alex, and Jamie planted a garden in her honor, roses red as her fire, thorns trimmed but present. The mill endured. The testament, workshops for writers, support groups for survivors, weddings under the beams where it all began. Years layered on. Jamie's questions turning to quests, college bound for Berkeley, majoring in social work, Alex's wanderlust in his veins. Patrick and Alex aged into silver foxes, hands veined and sure. Love a well-worn path. Harlan passed quietly, leaving the trailer to the mill as a library wing. Harlan room, for stories unburned. In quiet moments, Patrick traced the rainbow pin on his jacket, Evelyn's gift from her final Christmas. Wrath had forged them, biblical, bruising, beautiful. And in its wake, Willow Creek bloomed, a queer Eden in the heart of Dixie, where pretense yielded to the profound, love, unashamed, unbreakable. Decades distilled Willow Creek into legend. The Harlan Farm, a pilgrimage site for those seeking stories of survival amid the sweet tea and scorn. Patrick, at 52, moved with the deliberate grace of a man who'd wrestled angels and won, hair fully silver now. Threaded like Evelyn's had been, lines around his eyes mapping laughter and loss. The farm had evolved, solar panels glinting on the barn roof, a greenhouse bursting with heirloom tomatoes. The mill a thriving co-op employing 24, from welders to watercolorists. Alex, ever the sun to Patrick's moon, had mellowed into a patriarch with a paunch softened by craft beers and cobbler, his surfer curls cropped short but spirit untamed. They'd renewed vows at 40, a backyard bash with Jamie officiating, now a social worker in San Francisco, his husband a barista with tattoos and a gentle laugh. Grandkids arrived in waves, little Elena with her abuela's dimples, Theo with Patrick's hazel stare, summers spent chasing fireflies, winters mailing care packages of cornbread mix and mill-made jams. Evelyn's shadow lingered longest, her book a quiet classic in queer-lit circles, reprinted with forewords by activists who'd cut teeth on her words. The Ashes to Alleluia award she inspired honored Southern LGBTQ voices. First recipient a trans pastor from mobile preaching in ruins much like the chapels. Patrick judged entries, Alex grumbling good-naturedly over all that readin', but beaming at ribbon cuttings. One crisp October, the past resurfaced, not as ghost, but flesh. A letter from Nashville, elegant script on heavy stock, Caleb Whitmore. I'd like to make amends. Coffee? Those. A clipping, his obituary for a progressive seminary rag, lauding his work with conversion camp survivors. Redeemed? Or rebranded? Patrick pondered over breakfast, Alex peering over bifocals. Snakes still got fangs, Alex muttered, stirring oatmeal. Or maybe not. Your call? Cowboy. Patrick's gut twisted, memories of that Polaroid. Jamie's swing frozen in threat. But Evelyn's voice echoed, forgive, but fight smart. One coffee. Neutral ground. They met at the Mills Cafe. Expanded with exposed brick and lavender lattes. Baristas buzzing like bees. Caleb entered hesitant. 60-something but preserved by city polish, hair dyed blonde. Wrinkles artfully Botoxed. A rainbow lapel pin ironic or ironic. Patrick, he said, extending a hand smooth as a politician's. Well, life agrees, Patrick replied, waving off the barista. Black coffee. No sugar, echo of farm mornings. Caleb sat, fidgeting with a napkin. Seminary changed me. Therapy? Mostly. Unpacked the envy, the shame. I hurt you, your family. No excuses. Words hung, heavy as humidity. Patrick sipped, tasting bitterness. Jamie had nightmares for months. Thought monsters lurked in swings. Caleb winced. Genuine. I know. Wrote him too, apology. Not expecting reply. But you built something. I lecture on it now. The Willow Creek model, resilience through revelation. Patrick's laugh barked sharp. Model? We bled for it. Fair. Caleb leaned in. Eyes clear. Let me help. Donation, endowment for the award. In Evelyn's name. Tempting. A serpent's apple polished bright. Patrick studied him, seeing not the boy with hungry eyes, but a man hollowed by his own wrath. One condition, volunteer. Shovel shit? Not sermons. Caleb nodded. Quick. Deal. He showed, first awkward. Hauling lumber with soft hands blistering. Then earnest. Leading workshops on healing holy wounds. Skeptics grumbled, prodigal son bullshit, but Patrick watched. Evelyn's mercy in his veins. Alex grumbled too, but softened when Caleb bonded with Elena over sketchpads. Her crayons mapping his tattoos. Jamie's visit that Thanksgiving sealed it. Home with his family. Elena and Theo in tow. He cornered Caleb by the turkey carcass. You scared me once, Jamie said. Direct as a dart. But Dad says people change. Prove it? Caleb knelt. I level. Every day. Starting now. The Mills Holiday Fair swelled record crowds, booths of handmade pride flags. Storytelling circles under heated tents. Carols rewritten queer, joy to the world. No more closets. Harlan's library wing hosted her exhibit, Wrath to Witness, Letters from Exiles. Evelyn's shotgun polished as relic. Patrick emceed. Voice rich with years. We pretended. We fought. We forgave. That's the American story, flawed. Just free. Winter's solstice brought a blizzard. Rare for Alabama. Blanketing the farm in hush. Patrick and Alex bundled grandkids by the fire. Cocoa mugs steaming. Jamie strumming guitar to folk tunes. Caleb shoveled walks unasked. Harlan's old Bible under arm. Reading Psalms of Restoration. As snow fell thick, Patrick stepped out, breath clouding prayers of his own. Mama, you see this? Your wrath wove it all. The fox crossed the yard, red flash and white, vanishing into woods, omen or ordinary. Spring unfurled verdant. The greenhouse yielding abundance, strawberries sweet as first kisses. Herbs for Evelyn's recipes revived. The award ceremony drew dignitaries, a senator's aide touting inclusivity initiatives, reporters snapping candids. Caleb presented the check. Voice steady. For the woman who taught me hates the real abomination. Summer scorched. But the river cooled, picnics with Elena splashing. Theo building sandcastles of mill empires. Patrick taught them Evelyn's tales. Your great-grandma faced a gun for love. Remember that fire. Fall harvested gratitude. The farm stand booming with mill crafts. One evening, as leaves crunched underfoot, Alex pulled Patrick to the porch swing, creaking under their weight. 25 years, Alex murmured. Ring glinting. Still crazy about you. Patrick kissed him slow. World narrowing to salt and sigh. Wrath made us. Love keeps us. Jamie's wedding that December, to his husband. Under California palms, closed a circle. Patrick walked him down an aisle of lays. Evelyn's book in his pocket like talisman. Vows echoed hers, in pretense and truth. I choose you. Back in Willow Creek. Snow dusted again. The cycle eternal. Patrick. Alex. The mill, guardians of a legacy born in blast and bloom. Wrath's echo faded to whisper. Drowned by the chorus, lives lived loud. Love's unbound. A testament to the human heart's defiant, divine roar.